Karpatka. It's got choux pastry on top, sandwiched in between a thick layer of custard and topped with sour raspberries. This cake complements everything together. It's absolutely delicious. Now we're gonna make our custard. This is a really delicious vanilla custard, and first thing we're gonna put all the ingredients into a bowl apart from our milk and butter. So add your eggs into a pot together with your cornstarch and your sugar. Now mix everything together. Mix everything together until there are no lumps. And then add your milk. And we're gonna place everything onto the stove and cook this on a low heat, okay? The custard is gonna start to set, and we just wanna keep whisking it and mixing it with your spatula and your whisk on low temperature. At first it will look like nothing is happening, and then our custard will start to set pretty quickly. So just keep mixing it through. We do have a lot of cornstarch in here. This is a quicker custard recipe, so it doesn't require too much effort here, but just don't leave it on the stove and go for a walk or answer your phone, because we definitely want to cook the custard. We don't want to burn it, and we don't want to make scrambled eggs. So just cook this on low heat and keep mixing. You might want to switch to spatula and just go around the sides and mix everything through. Because if you mix all the time with a whisk as well, you can add a lot of air bubbles into the custard. My custard is starting to set quickly, look at that. So now switch to a whisk. You might need to lift this up as well, as you don't want to overcook this. And I'm going to take this off the heat. You see how quickly this happens? Now just mix this through. Transfer this quickly into a new bowl. And we want our custard to fully cool down. Once you transferred your mixture into a bowl, you can go ahead and add your vanilla seeds. You can add vanilla bean paste, vanilla seeds, whatever you like or whatever you have. I'm also going to add vanilla extract. I really want to have that vanilla flavor in there. And I'm just going to mix everything together and cool down the custard. And you'll be able to see these little vanilla seeds popping out. Now take your cling film and place it over the custard. And you want to make sure that it's actually touching the custard. And we're going to leave it to cool down. You can leave it in a room temperature, but it will take much longer, or you can place this into the fridge. My custard has fully cooled down. I've got here room temperature butter. I'm going to whip up my butter for a few minutes until it's light and fluffy. And we're going to take off the cling film from the custard. And we're going to be adding 1 tablespoon of custard at a time into our butter while we're mixing to make this delicious cream. So just start mixing. custard, a spoon at a time. Once it's mixed in, you're gonna add another spoon and just keep going until you finish up with your custard. My cream is done. Take a spatula and just fold everything together. Make sure you mix through the butter on the sides. It's gonna be absolutely gorgeous and goes so well with our raspberry and our pastry. There's your final cream. Now it's time to assemble our cake. Now we're gonna make our choux pastry for the cake, and this is like a super quick, fast version of choux pastry. We're gonna add water and milk into a pot, together with a pinch of salt and pinch of sugar, and room temperature butter. Make sure you use room temperature butter so that it melts fast. And we're going to place this onto the stove. All you want to do here is make sure your butter is fully melted, and we don't want to boil our milk before our butter melted, so just kind of whisk that up, make sure the butter is starting to melt. That's why if you use room temperature, it's going to be a lot faster. Just break that down. You can use a whisk here. Our main goal here is to make sure salt and sugar melts together with our butter. There we have it. My butter is fully melted. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add my flour. So add the whole thing in, and you wanna mix this thing really, really fast. Okay, so just keep mixing. And the dough might look liquid at first, but it will start to come together. Don't worry if you have some lumps, that's absolutely okay. You just wanna stir this as fast as you can. Keep stirring this and cooking this on a medium to low temperature. You see how the dough is starting to come together? Just keep cooking and mixing. It should kind of come off your sides of your pan. But we want to cook the dough for a bit longer to evaporate any excess water. It will start to clump together and look pretty much like mashed potato. That is a good sign. Just keep mixing it through. You want to kind of beat it up as well, mix it quite hard. We're going to cook this for a couple of minutes, right? The idea here is to really cook out any excess moisture in your dough, because we're going to be adding eggs inside, so you don't want to have the dough already wet. Just keep cooking this. And one cue I can give you, or a tip, is to look at your pan. So it should form like a little crust at the bottom, like a thin crust, and that will mean that the dough is getting ready. You see it's starting to form a little crust at the bottom here that you can pick off. That means our dough is nearly done. Okay, my dough is done. Just take this off the heat. And I'm going to transfer this into a bowl. And we want to cool this down to at least 30 degrees Celsius, 30-40 degrees Celsius before we start adding our eggs. You can leave it in a room temperature, or you can just keep mixing it with your hand just like this and cool it down. My mixture has fully cooled down. Now I'm going to add egg a little bit at a time and mix this through. So add 1 egg and mix this through with your wooden or just normal spatula. This will be quite a workout, so just get ready. At first it will look lumpy, which is okay. Just keep mixing. And then the mixture will start to come together, so just keep mixing until your dough comes together again, just like so. You might want to place a towel under your bowl so it doesn't move. Once your mixture is mixed through, you're going to add your second egg and mix everything one more time. Now the dough is starting to come together. Now mix this hard. Okay. It's going to look nice and pileable, just like this. Make sure there's not many lumps and that everything is mixed through. So the final dough should look like this. It will fall off the spoon and then fall onto your other dough and almost like still fall down, but it shouldn't be runny, it shouldn't be very dry, it should be just this perfect consistency, okay? Just like this. Now we're going to divide the dough between 2 rings, okay? So I've got my dough here. I do recommend measuring this out and then dividing it evenly. And you can see I've got 2 rings here of 18 centimeters. Now if you just only have 1 ring, you want to bake first half, then wait, take it off, and then bake your second half. I'm gonna bake everything together. I'm also baking this on my silicone mat. If you don't have a silicone mat, you can just use parchment paper. So I'm just gonna add half of the mixture inside. And then the other half in the other ring. Just scrape everything down. I'm going to change to a spatula so I can get more of the dough out. Scrape everything off. And now take your spatula, and what you want to do, you want to push the dough all the way to the corners and just spread it out. And this doesn't need to be perfect. Actually, the more kind of, swirls you have, the crazier the cake is going to look. So just kind of go around and inside, around the edges. And just swirl it, just like so. And do exactly the same thing with your second ring. Once you've done that, take your almond petals and sprinkle them on top of your dough. And I'm only going to sprinkle on one half of the dough. If you wanted to, you can do it on both as well. It's just one is going to be our top of the cake and one is going to be the bottom of our cake. So it's up to you. My cake is done. Look at this beauty. It's smelling so good in the house. So we're just going to get a cooling rack and set our cakes aside to cool down fully. Take a sharp knife and just go around the edges to loosen the cake. And just gently lift it up, lift up your ring. And now we have two delicious layers. You can pick which layer you want to be the top. I'm gonna go with the one that we have the almonds, although actually now I'm looking at it and I prefer this layer as top, but I will see once I start decorating. We're gonna leave these to fully cool down. I'm just gonna lift it off my silicone mat and place it onto a cooling rack and set them aside to fully cool down. Now we're gonna make our raspberry confit that's gonna go inside our cake. You can use any other berries that you like. I just love raspberries. Over here I've got my sugar and cornstarch. I'm just gonna mix these two together in a pot. And set this aside. And then over here I've got my raspberries. I've defrosted mine for a few hours and now they're nice and defrosted and have released some liquid, which is okay. You can also use fresh raspberries. Place them into the pot and then onto your stove. We're going to warm them up. We're going to warm them up just a little bit and then we're going to start adding our sugar and cornstarch inside. And we're gonna cook this on low temperature until our mixture starts to thicken up and look more like a thick jam, but not too thick, as we're gonna spread that inside our cake and hide it. So we want it to be a spreadable consistency. Add your sugar and cornstarch. Do half at a time. Mix this through. Then go ahead and add the rest of your sugar and cornstarch. My mixture is starting to thicken up, so I'm just gonna cook this for a few more seconds or minutes. And this process takes a couple of minutes, okay? Just be patient, keep stirring, going around the sides, and it smells amazing in here already. Just mix this through. Now it's starting to thicken up. And you can use this as a jam topping. I'm gonna reserve some to serve and drizzle on the cake later. There we have it. Our raspberry jam is done. It's gonna set more as it cools down, so don't be tempted to overcook this. And I'm gonna set this aside to cool down. it's time to assemble my beautiful cake. So I'm gonna add a little bit of cream at the bottom of my presentation dish. And we're gonna put the first layer of our dough right on top and just press down on it so nice and squeezed. Then take your ring, place around your cake, take your acetone tape, place it around your cake. And just squeeze until it fits into your cake. Take a little paper clip, clip it up. Then take your raspberry jam we made earlier and place it over your cake. Half of the mixture goes there. So just spread a nice layer. Just like that. And then take your custard cream and put it all over your cake. I just dollop it inside, nice and even. Just go around all the sides. And spread everything nice and even, going into the edges, making sure your cream is nice and set around the sides. And it's you know, because when we cut it and the cake is done, it's gonna look, you're gonna have this beautiful cut. Just spread that out, even it all out. Take the remaining of your jam and add it onto the layer, onto your custard layer, nice and even. Spread it out through the middle. Try not going to the sides, just kind of stick to the middle. And finally, you're gonna take your last layer and put it on top. Just realized it's, okay, we'll try. Just like that. And just squeeze a little bit so there is contact with the cream and the jam. And our cake now goes into the fridge for at least a few hours. My cake is done. It's been chilling in the fridge overnight. So just take off your ring and take off your cling film or acetone tape. And look how beautiful it looks. Some raspberries popping through on one side. It's just stunning. Now that's it. We're gonna cut inside and I'll show you how it looks.